I don't want to get COVID, but if that is that the best, I don't think it's the best way, but it's just crazy. All right, we got Mary in here now.
I think Zoom calls are the way to go.
I do too. Okay, Mary, you were in?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay. Well, do we want to give it this? Uh-oh. You guys.
Yeah, I can hear you.
You can hear me? Okay. I got to not touch this microphone. My cord's messed up and I got to get a new one. So I guess, I did say 6:30, but I also said 6. So if you guys are ready to start, let's just go ahead. Yeah. All right. Well, it is my honor to call this first meeting of the Indigenous Caucus to order. We are going to start with, let's see. All right. We've got, opening. We're going to do an opening here. I know that normally people do Pledge of Allegiance. As I've said before, I don't necessarily feel comfortable doing that as Indigenous people and all of that. So let's just jump in here and get some good conversations going. Let me pull up my notes. Okay, so yeah. So, I figured it would be a good idea for all of us to introduce ourselves. I was hoping we would have a few more people, but I'm not sure who BK is. BK, are you with us? Could you unmute and introduce yourself? Okay, well, in that case, I think that we all know each other. We've introduced ourselves. I don't know if you know Mary Thorp. Mary Thorp is the, I believe, the senior caucus co-chair and the co-chair of the Affirmative Action Committee. So thank you for coming, Mary. We are going to start off with, a few ground rules. I think that, like we discussed in the thing, if everybody's okay with it, I want to keep voting membership, and we'll discuss this in the bylaws further. But, any votes that we would have tonight, I would like it to be those of us who identify as Indigenous. And any conversation we have is open to anybody. I would assume that we're going to limit debate if any motions are brought forward, though, just to make sure that the voting members have a say in that. But any discussions that we have, everyone's more than welcome to participate. And I'm not going to be a super strict person here. I'm going to, we'll recognize people on the floor. If things get out of hand, I reserve the right, Mary and I reserve the right to set limits. But I think that with a group like this, conversational is going to be better. So with that being said, I have, get my notes back up here again. All right. So we need to do the adoption of the agenda. I sent a copy out. I sent one to you, didn't I, Sandra? Okay, let's see. Can I screen share here? Okay, let's screen share. Okay, here we go. Make this bigger. Okay, so we're going to start with the opening ceremonies, adoption of agenda, volunteer to draft the bylaws via committee, volunteers for the planning committee. These other notes are just for me. Update on affirmative action committee, and potential nominees for consideration for the executive committee diversity seats, followed by adjournment. Does anybody have any problems with the agenda? Anything that anybody would like to amend? Anything anyone would like to amend or add?
I assume these are the recommendations from the Affirmative Action Committee.
No. We set our own agenda. That's one of the things
Okay.
that we could talk about too, is where we stand as a caucus. That's not on the agenda right now, but if you're open to it, we can have this conversation. I've spoken with Belinda Biafor about what it is that we are supposed to do, what it is that the Indigenous Caucus has the power to do, and all of that. The Indigenous Caucus is its own independent group. We are part of the Affirmative Action Committee, and the Affirmative Action Committee chairs represent us to the Executive Committee. But what we do, we have full autonomy. It's ours to run. And we just have to check in with Democratic leaders and the Executive Committee from time to time. So yeah, these are our agenda points, and that's, we want to make sure that what we're doing, in my opinion, is strictly focused on Indigenous issues. We can talk about how to draw people in, having events, all of these things. But like I said, one of the most important things that we're going to do is to draft our bylaws. So in order to do that, we need to pull myself back up here. We need to go ahead and make a motion to form a bylaws committee. So I'll make the motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay. Is there, I doubt there's very much debate on this. So anybody have anything to say? Okay. Well, then let's go ahead and have our vote. The question before us is to form a bylaws committee, and all those opposed, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. And I as well. So we're going to go ahead and do that. And do we have anybody who would want to be the chair of the bylaws committee? Okay.
I'll do it. If Sandra is not interested, I will totally take on the bylaws committee.
Okay. That's great.
I'll be on the committee with you. I just didn't want to head it up. I'm in enough,
Okay.
heading up enough things.
I hope you guys can hear me again. I keep touching this microphone and it keeps messing up. So, okay. So then that's adopted. That motion has passed. We will now take volunteers to be on the bylaw committee. I will volunteer to be on the bylaw committee. Okay. All right. Well, at this point,
Looks like maybe there's 2 of us or 3 of us.
Yes, I'd say at this point, it's going to be the 3 of us working on the bylaws committee.
Okay.
yeah, and honestly, if we want to go ahead and just extend that into a planning committee as well, I mean, we can adopt the motion because it's probably smart. But if you 2 are on board with it, then we'll just go ahead and be the planning committee as well. But if somebody else wants to make the motion, if not, I'll make the motion to form the planning committee.
I'll make the motion to form the planning committee.
Okay. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Okay. All right. I'm assuming that there's not anybody who wants to speak on this. All right. Well, let's bring it to a vote. The question is to form a planning committee.
Yes.
All those in favor?
Yes.
Aye. Okay. All right. Well, that passes, and we've already discussed membership. So we will move on from there. And my next piece of business that I have is the planning committee. So now we're going to talk about an update on what's been going on at the Affirmative Action Committee. Now, just like anything, anytime you create something new, you're going to have hiccups. And we've definitely had some hiccups along the way. But I do want to make this clear. I don't believe that this is anything we're not going to come out of stronger by the 2022 elections. We have a goal. I think all of us have that goal, and that goal is to try to beat as many Republicans as we can and stop the bleeding. So there are some things that have happened that, just to kind of talk about where we are. There have been calls for the elected chairs to step down and to allow for new elections. A lot of people have voiced their support for that. I don't know what's happening with it. And to be honest, I have not been getting a lot of information about the AAC. I'm a little bit in the dark. I've been asking, and it's very hard to get the information that I'm looking for. So that's where we stand with that. And like I said, we'll get those hiccups worked out. This isn't a big deal, but there is just a little bit of miscommunication going on right now. And hopefully by the 17th, when we have our meeting, everything is going to look a lot better. And we won't have to discuss this negativity any further, because unless anybody has questions, I don't believe it's a major issue, but I did want to bring everybody in. Okay. And then we also had an incident with there's a listening tour that they're asking us to send out. The people on the planning committee, the majority of them don't remember this discussion about having a listening tour. And the language used for the listening tour, several members have stated is a little bit too negative for them, and they don't necessarily want to be negative. They wanted to be a little bit more positive, and because, you know, all of the co-chairs' names are attached to the AAC, and so we're trying to get a little bit of clarification on this, because you know, one of the things that I did with Ann Claytor when we did campaigning was everything that we did, every advertisement we took out, every post we made, we said the words in what we're saying all carry a connotation. Every word is either negative or positive, neutral. A lot of the words in this are too negative, in my opinion. So I would hope that as the Indigenous Caucus, I would prefer not to send this listening tour information out unless we can get the copy changed to make it more, how can we help you, instead of how is the Democratic Party hurting you? Because we're an arm of the Democratic Party, and that's important. I think that's important. As a matter of fact, one of the other things, this is the last thing that I'm going to bring up negative, is there was a I'm trying to get my thoughts together here. There was a list of demands sent out to Belinda Biafor by the Affirmative Action Committee. I wasn't a huge fan of this list of demands. It was hostile. And I felt that it put us in a adversarial relationship with the Democratic Party as a whole, which for the Indigenous people, I think is very dangerous. This is our only outlet within the Democratic Party, and making good connections with party leaders is one way for us to get what we need to not only bring Indigenous people in, but to help them. You know, I see this as both ways. If we help the Democratic Party, well, there's going to have to be something we offer Indigenous people, so we'll by proxy end up helping them. And that's my main goal here. So with that in mind,
Seth, you might want to reiterate that was prior to you all being formed.
Oh yeah, okay, so thank you for getting me caught back. I was trying to think here, Marianne. Yes, that was done before the Indigenous Caucus was formed, and through multiple requests, I still do not know who authored it, who authorized to send it out, and I know that it's put us in a downward spot. So I have, if anybody's interested, now if we don't want to pass this, we don't have to pass it, but I would like to read it to everybody and show it to everybody. I have drafted a resolution, and we could take a look at it now, and we could see if we want to pass it. If not, honestly, I can understand why, but I do feel that this would be a good way to let the Democratic Party know that we in the Indigenous Caucus don't want to have that relationship, that we've started off on the wrong foot. So everybody can see my screen. The resolution: whereas an unauthorized list of demands was sent to the WVDP chair, Belinda Biafor, from the Affirmative Action Committee, and whereas the authors of this document are unknown to the Indigenous Caucus, and whereas the content of the document puts the Affirmative Action Committee at odds with the Democratic Party leaders, and whereas the only outlet for Indigenous people in the WVDP is the newly formed caucus, and conflict doesn't benefit our marginalized community, and whereas the Indigenous Caucus was formed to help build a bridge between Indigenous people and the West Virginia Democratic Party, therefore, be it resolved, the Indigenous Caucus denounces the document demanding concessions from Democratic Party leaders. Resolved, the Indigenous Caucus reaffirms its pledge to be a positive force within the Democratic Party. Be it further resolved, the Indigenous Caucus denounces the unauthorized action of the AAC to send a list of demands without consulting fellow members. And resolved, the Indigenous Caucus calls for an immediate end to hostilities with the leadership of the West Virginia Democratic Party. I move that we pass this resolution. Does anybody have anything to say one way or the other?
I am in agreement with the resolution, and I think that we should definitely pass it to express how opposed we are to it.
So that's a second from you, right, Mary?
Yes, that is a second for me.
Okay.
As an ally, just to add, I don't know if the proper term is unauthorized. I don't recall in a public meeting
Well, and that's why I
it's getting
call
a little shaky to me now. That
Well,
you
that's why
said
I call it
'cause I
unauthorized.
didn't want you to use that term in a way.
Well,
Because
if you
there
would-
were discussions, but they weren't discussions openly now that I recall. Okay.
Right. These were not done in public meetings. And as far as I could tell, there was no actual vote taken. So it would be an unauthorized action for the chairs of the AAC to send that list of demands without consulting with the group as a whole. And like I said, I feel strongly that this has put us at a disadvantage when we need to do everything we can to be good actors within the Democratic Party, because we've got a lot of things coming at us. And I just don't like the way that we've been going about this, despite my policy difference with Belinda Biafor. It's just, I don't see now the time being that we should take on this fight in particular, let alone be going against these people when we have to be united come 2022. So I just want this, if we've got a second, Mary Ann, thank you for your input. Does anybody want to speak to the affirmative? I'm sorry, who was that? Okay. Is there anyone else who would like to add to the debate? Okay, well, go ahead.
Sorry, I was a little slow. I was writing everybody's name down because we've had some new people join us.
Yes.
Yeah, I think it's a good idea to be more positive. That's all I wanted to say. Just, I like the idea of the resolution. I'm fully
Okay.
in support.
Okay, well, in that case, I think you, Mary, and me are the only ones in here. So let's go ahead and move to the question. Do we want to pass the resolution that I have just read? Do we have all those in favor?
Aye.
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 Okay, unanimous decision. All right, that is a resolution that we will pass. Next thing I want to talk about, I think it's on. Did I put it on the agenda? I sure hope I did. If not, I would like to put this in there just really quickly, if nobody has any objections. I think that we need to have a discussion about social media presence and about having an email, just official accounts for the group. Clearly, we'll write in the bylaws the rules for who can use it, and just kind of set some restrictions, because we obviously don't want anybody going on there speaking for the entire Indigenous Caucus without authorization. That's clear. So let's make a motion. I'll make a motion to start some social media. Let's see. We'll make a motion to start a Facebook page, a Twitter account, and an email account to start with. Does that sound good?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, do I get a second?
I second that motion.
Okay, so let's any debate?
In the future, if we do events, I think an Instagram account might be nice so we can post pictures.
Okay, well,
I agree.
All right, well, then let's amend that. Let's amend that to say that we would also have an Instagram. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay,
Yes,
so
like that.
okay, so I think that if nobody else has anything else to say, we'll go ahead and take that to a vote. So for setting up social media accounts and an email address, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, all right. Well, that one passes as
Wanted
well.
to add, I wanted to add something on what we're doing. The Black Caucus is
Please.
I never get in the email, but the secretary and Hollis, well, we all have the password and we all could get into it. And as far as the secretary and the two co-chairs, not everybody
Right.
else.
That's probably what we'll put into the bylaws as well.
Okay, I just
assume,
wanted to just pass that information. While I get to talk to you anytime, but Sandra, I don't. So
right. No, and I appreciate that. Because that's really good advice. I think that it would definitely be something that needs to be more collaborative than any one person running these accounts or sending out emails without checking with everybody. You know, we want to be a team. We want to do all of this together. That's my main goal here. And so I think the last thing that we have here on the agenda.
Oh, wait, can we go back to that list of
Yeah,
social media and all that? Should we at this time decide that we're going to keep a list of emails and a contact list to send out our emails to the Indigenous people that we come across, or is that?
I don't think that we're going to need a motion to do that. I think that when we have people coming in who want to be a member of the caucus, we'll form an email list that will be ever growing. I don't see that being an issue that we would have to make anything official.
All right, sounds good.
Yeah. So, okay. So now one of the things that we've got to talk about is that we have a potential. We don't know what's going to happen, but we're hoping that we can get somebody on the executive committee from the Indigenous Caucus.
Hey, Seth, can I interrupt you again? I'm sorry.
Yes.
I was wondering, you had started on a logo. Did you share that with your?
No, I have not shared the logo because I'm still working on a few, and I wanted to do that in the planning committee where we could just kind of discuss it over and see what everybody likes, because I don't want to be coming in here and saying, look what I've done, that we should do this. I want to be collaborative. So I want to get
I didn't know if you
input.
just wanted to share it with them so they could see what you.
I did put a couple together, but I don't know that. I don't know where they are on my computer right now anyway. So I wasn't prepared for that. But the thing about what's going on with the executive committee seats is that right now, if nothing else changes, I believe we're looking for a male from the 3rd district. There's still a seat for a male from the 3rd district. So we need to put a call out to anybody and everybody to track down a male from the 3rd district. If nobody else is willing to give up their seats, there's still that one available. And I really believe we need to try to get somebody on that executive committee who's Indigenous. I'm from the 1st district. I'm out. So we need to find somebody in the 3rd district, because I'm not sure that anybody's given up their seats. And I want to do everything we can to vie for that from the Indigenous Caucus. So if anybody knows anybody, the call is out there. Allies, all of you, if you find anybody, shoot us an email so that we can reach out to them and try to get that. Thank you, Dio. I like my pink chair as well. It's my niece's, but it's very comfortable, so I wear it. But yeah, so I guess that we don't necessarily need to get names right now unless somebody has one. But that's what we're looking for. So they just put the call out there. Please, if you know anybody, give them our email address, mine personally, or the affirmative, or not the affirmative action, the Indigenous Caucus email will come up with. Reach out to me any way that you can, and I'll make sure that we get a hold of that person because it's desperately needed. And that brings the end of everything that I really wanted to discuss. Can anyone think of anything else we should discuss before we adjourn? Oh, Martinburg's. Okay, I see what you say here, Sandra, with an email from a friend about Indigenous People Day at the Southside Farmers Market in Martinsburg. That would be great. If we could get some contact information, maybe we could reach out and send some people over there.
Well, I live very close, so, and it's a fun place to be. Ooh, I misspelled Martinsburg. Look at that. Anyway, yeah, it's fun. They have the veterans with the honey, and they have a soap lady and a candle lady, and it's really a fun place to be. So,
oh, okay. October 10th. I might try to make it up there if the Lambda variant hasn't gotten.
Yeah, we haven't been wiped out yet. Yeah.
Yeah, see, I've been there many times, Seth. You weren't out traveling with me because of COVID.
Yeah, I was definitely not. Now, Kim, I see your question there. Yeah, we talked about we're going to form some social media accounts in one of the planning committees and Instagram. I try to get everything that we can to really have a presence. Hopefully I would really like to get most of the things done before the next meeting, which we also need to schedule. I would really like to come into it with us having worked on some good bylaws, so that we know what we're doing, so that we know what our rules are, so that we look like we're on top of things. I want the Indigenous Caucus to be the pride of the AAC, because we're so small. We're so small. So let's show them that we can do big things.
We just need to get people out of hiding.
Exactly.
Wherever they're hiding.
Well, and this first meeting, it's hard to get people. The more we do events, the more we can get in touch with actual Indigenous people who want to join up, or allies, the better off we're going to be.
Right.
And the more people we build into this thing, the stronger we're going to be. And that's my goal. So, like I said about the way the AAC is set up, my goal is the Indigenous Caucus. I don't know if I said this or if I had said it to Charlie Mullins. I talked to him before coming on here, but I really do want to make the Indigenous Caucus everything that it can be. I feel there's been a cultural genocide as well as the actual genocide. My grandmother was removed from her home, put into a boarding school, and she married my grandfather and came to West Virginia. I've been cut off for most of my life from those people. And yeah, exactly. So we've got to come together, learn our culture, as well as this is a big deal for in West Virginia, the Indigenous community here, because a lot of us are going through this. And that's why I really want to find some people more in touch with their roots so that they could be our mentors, help us, guide us and what the traditions are of our people, because it's something that we lack. So there's a chance to also have a social club aspect of this as well, that I think is very, very beneficial.
Yeah, it'd be nice to, I don't know if there's a powwow in West Virginia or not, but it'd be nice to go there.
They do have powwows in West Virginia. I think I just missed the one in Morgantown, though. I'll double check. They had one in Morgantown very recently, but we weren't formed yet, I don't think.
Yeah.
But looking over the next year, I mean, this is where we need to get our focus going. We need to go to some of these things that will allow us have registration drives, have literature with us, encourage people to come and join our group and advocate for Indigenous people. Because honestly, like, I started thinking about it. If we were to limit this to conversation from just Indigenous people, we would be in a real world of hurt. So I just think that that's the key. So if there's nothing else, I say we go ahead and schedule our next meeting.
I'm going to step away a second. I'm going to grab my calendar.
That would be a good idea. That's a good idea.
Okay. All right, I'm back.
Okay, great. So I mean, I'd like to do it sometime in the next 4 weeks, about a month from now, like we did before. We can try to shoot for 28 days again and do it on the Wednesday if everybody's free. I have no problem with that.
What are you thinking?
What time did this meeting actually start versus, I know I got here late.
Well, let me tell you.
I was already in another meeting though, so I'm sorry.
The meeting,
I cut out of there early to get here.
I made a mistake. I put 6 and 6:30. So a lot of us were here at 6 and we just chit chatted until the room filled up. So, but like I said, today's agenda wasn't super long. It's, I think if this was just a first meeting, getting everything set up, to get our bearings and what we're doing. And, so let's see, let me pull up a calendar here myself so we can see what we're looking at. Okay. So that would be, September 1st. I don't know why. I feel like the 1st wouldn't work for everybody. Does it? I don't know why I feel that way.
I'm free.
You're free? Okay. Mary? It's a Wednesday.
That should work for me then. I can't see anything.
Okay.
Pressing.
All right. Yeah. Then let's okay, I'm not sure. I think it would be good to mention it so Mary and Seth can send it out to everyone. Mention what, Mary Thorp? She can't talk. She has to text.
Oh, I think she's talking about the survey, but I've already responded to the AAC and said that I will not be sending out the survey because I have not received any information of who it was approved by or any of that. And I would need to know that information.
Well, and I do think that we have to establish that this is an independent caucus, and we will forward things from the Affirmative Action Committee we think are important, but this survey is very long. I haven't delved into it to see if it's something we're going to send out, but yeah, thank you, Mary Thorp. So let's shoot for the first then, and let's set an actual time of 6:30. I'll try to make sure I write that down in both places so that we don't miss it.
Okay, so do you want me to set up the meeting using my Zoom?
That would be fantastic, actually. That would
Okay.
be great. And then I'll check the settings that they have on these one things. And did Mary Thorp leave the room? Unfortunate. So that's
They might have
she's
lost
there.
their
She's there. I
power.
see her there now. I thought she had left. Okay, good. I'm glad you're still there, Mary. Yeah, no. So we'll set that at 6:30. You can use your Zoom. I think that would be great because the affirmative, that way we get to know who's registering. And since you're the secretary, it makes the most sense.
Okay,
So I have no problem with that. And
just send me the current emails you have so I can invite everybody.
okay, so far the only emails that well, I've got Charlie and DL's, Mary
Mhm.
Thorpe's. I still don't know who BK is. BK, do you want to announce yourself? I would love to know who you are. Okay. All right. Well, I hope that you enjoyed the
Stalker.
meeting, BK. I really do. So with that, if there's no further business, I think that we can go
I
ahead
actually do have a question for you.
okay.
While we have everybody on the line, Sandra, do you want to just email and decide a time to set up the planning committees and bylaw committees, or do you want to go ahead and do that right now since we are all three
Oh.
together?
We can do that right now if you want.
Okay,
Sure.
that's smart.
Yeah. And I can set up a call for that too, so we can get together and chit
Yeah,
chat.
please.
Okay.
Let me know. What date are you thinking?
Anytime between August 16th through the 30th, that is my slow time at work. So I'm free in most evenings, but for the 1st through the 15th, I'm pretty booked morning to night.
Okay.
Yeah. I can pretty much make anything work after. In the
Yeah,
evenings.
I'm free any night that week up to the 19th. So
Okay.
Okay, and Sandra, here in the chat, Charlie Mullins would like to be added to our list, and he has added his email address over
I
there.
see that. Let me grab it.
Yeah, so if you could just grab that one on there to make sure he gets our emails as well.
Thank you, Charlie. I got you.
Got my email, right?
Yeah, I have Mary and Seth. I
Do you
have
have
Ken.
Do you have Kim? Okay, and
Mhm.
Marianne.
I might have Mary Ann's. I'm not sure.
I'm not sure. But DL, do you want to let us know which email you want us to use? I know you've got like at least two. She'll let us know. She'll let us know, and I'll let you know.
Yeah.
She doesn't tell us. That's not a big deal. So, does anybody have anything else to add? Anything that we need to go over?
No, just that if August 18th works for both of you, then you guys pick the time that evening. It's a Wednesday.
Okay, so that's 2
6:30?
weeks. 2 weeks from today.
Is
Yes.
6:30 okay?
6:30 is
works.
perfect.
Okay.
All right. Thank you.
All right. All right. Well, in that case, I think we finally do have everything done.
Okay.
And with that, I say we call and adjourn this meeting.
I second it.
Okay.
All right. Yes.
Yep.
Thank you,
I
everybody.
I think with the three of us, it's pretty safe to say if there's a second, it's we're good. Okay. All right.
All
Well,
right.
thank you so much for everybody for coming out. I have recorded this. I don't know where it goes. Hopefully, the people with the Affirmative Action Committee will share it with everybody.
Well, hopefully they'll get a link and send it to you.
Oh, okay. Good.
That's how it
Great.
works. And then
Okay.
you can send it to me and I'll make sure I captured everything in my notes.
Okay.
and then,
Yeah.
I'll type this up,
Thank you for coming, Charlie.
chance. So
Okay. Yeah, that's great. And we'll get that YouTube channel set up, and every meeting that we have, I would really like to record and put it up on YouTube for full transparency. That's very, very important to me.
I think that when you close, it may give you the option. I was trying to think, when I've done this, I don't know if it just goes to the owner. It may go on your computer because you started it. But so make note when you get ready to close, you may see that.
Oh yeah,
Okay, well,
as
we'll
the
see.
host, you're supposed to get like a link too.
Okay. All right. Well, then we will see what happens, I suppose.
Good to see everybody.
Yeah. Thank you for coming,
Same
Kim.
here.
For sure.
Yes, it was great seeing everybody.
Oh, thank you,
for
Charlie.
coming.
Charlie says when we close the meeting, it'll start saving the record. Great to know.
Yeah.
Great to know. Thanks, Charlie. All right. Well, with that, you guys take
All right.
care, and we'll see you next month. And
All right,
Sandra,
goodbye.
next 2 weeks from now.
You got it. See you.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye, guys.
Bye.